Welcome one and all to the Cine Geeks podcast where movies, TV, and all things geek collide. I'm Roy, still joined by my co-host Angela.
Hello!
Hey everyone, and welcome to part 2 of our 2025 Cinemalaya Film Festival review extravaganza. So, medyo magana tayo, mabilisan lang bago mag-continue. Medyo, we're gonna pull a Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 / Final Reckoning. So, nung last episode, sinabi kasi namin na magiging all 12. Essentially, pan 3 parts. Medyo na-realize namin na wala na rin kaming time manood ng shorts. Kasi very, very busy with, other things.
And konti lang din kasi yung mga screens for the shorts.
For some reason, they
Tsaka
chose
magkahiwalay minsan yung B sa isang cinema or sa isang mall, tapos yung A nasa kabilang. Hindi siya parang pareho. Ang hirap niya i-schedule.
Yun, exactly. Hindi siya yung parang nung Sinipanalo.
Na isang buong araw, puro shorts sa isang cinema.
Yes, exactly.
Ayun, kaya natapos natin lahat ng shorts nun .
Yes. Ito, dito sa Cinemalaya, yung shorts, may kasunod na isang feature. Tapos yung shorts A and B, magkahiwalay ng location pa sa ibang oras. Yung iba, sobrang aga. Parang,
yung iba naman sabay.
Sabay din, yun. Kasabay ng isang parang full length.
Magkasabay ng cinema schedule, magkasabay ng time. So parang hindi mo siya pwedeng panoorin magkasunod.
Yeah. So, we're officially not going to review the shorts. Better luck next year. Parang ito yung natin, Matt Damon natin. Parang,
we ran out of time, sorry.
We ran out of time, shorts, Cinemalaya. So, what we're gonna do now is just gonna talk about the last 6 feature-length films in contention, quotation marks, 21st year, 2025. Sabog na yung utak ko dahil sa festival this year. Anyway, so we're gonna talk about the following films. Bloom, Where You Are Planted, directed and written by Noni Abao. Paglilitis, written by Raymond Barcelon, directed by Cheska Marfori. Warla, written by Aragel Badayos, directed by Kevin Alhambra. Republika ng Pipolipinas, written and directed by Rene Dimla Padamlagan, written and directed by Jen Romano. And Open Endings, written by Kivi Eunice Vicente, directed by Nigel Santos.
Grabe.
Yes.
So 6 in 1.
Yep. But before you continue, where can they find us on Facebook and Instagram?
Of course, you can follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, and TikTok at Cinegeeks Podcast or Cinegeeks PH on TikTok. And we also have our website, www.cinegeekspod.com.
That's right. By the way, sorry, makaklarify ka. Cinegeeks Pod tayo sa Instagram. Kasi baka maghanap siya ng @Cinegeeks Podcast.
Yeah. Cinegeeks Pod. On Instagram and on Facebook.
That's right. And if you wanna email us, whatever, cinegeekspod@gmail.com. Inbox is open. Padala lang kayo na kahit ano. Okay, so with all of that out of the way, let's start with the first film in this episode, and that's Bloom, Where You Are Planted. For Bloom, Where You Are Planted, ang logline dito sa website ng Cinemalaya ay 3 land rights activists contend with their volatile notions of home amid terror and red tagging in Cagayan Valley. Okay, so documentary.
Yeah. It's the only documentary entry this year. Last year, 2 Although yung isa, yung tumandok is parang documentary fiction. Tama ba?
Parang ganun. Oo.
Anyways, yeah.
Mabilisan lang. Sinabi mo kanina na yung last year may documentary tayo sa yung Alipato at Muog.
Dalawa actually.
Yun yung isang full straight documentary. Yung Alipato. Yung isa nga is parang, hindi ko nga siya masabi na parang documentary. Sine siya
May narrative May script
Oo Kasi kung documentary siya, dapat may talking heads na kinakausap. Wala naman
Doon sa Tumandok.
Sa Tumandok. So straight movie siya talaga. So isa lang. So yung Alipato lang. If inevitable, magiging comparison dito sa Bloom and yung Alipato. Ako personally, I prefer Alipato more.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Kasi, yun na, we're not gonna get into much detail na kasi medyo tricky pag-usapan to. From all sides, I just prefer the way that, Alipato at Muog handled its subject matter. Mas straightforward siya. Hindi siya yung tipong parang may mga gustong iparating na ibang bagay maliban doon sa express na wish nung director, which is si Jael Burgos, that he wants at least closure for the missing, for the disappearance of his brother Jonas. Ikaw?
Okay naman yung message about farmers and about yun nga, the state of our agricultural sector. Siguro para sa akin, may kukumpara ko tong Bloom Where You Are Planted dun sa documentary from 2 years ago, yung Maria, na parang 3 personas din, tapos parang there is one singular theme, and I just feel like, yes, I would have wanted really siguro to just hear the advocacy kesa dun sa personal preference ko lang. I just feel for the farmers more and for the cause. Kaya lang nag-concentrate na lang tayo dun sa mga kaso nung 3 eh. So parang naging parang true crime pa nga yung yung isa doon. Pero ayun, parang I feel like kung true crime to, ang true crime kino-cover niya lahat ng bases on all sides.
Yes.
Pero kasi parang I think the documentary has already decided who are innocent. So parang wala na akong way para i-weigh kung ano yung mga pinresent sa akin. Kasi meron na siyang dinidikta ba? Parang meron na siyang talagang message na gustong sabihin without me needing to input anything or to process anything. So parang yun yung feeling ko. So sana yung na lang, yung state na lang ng farmers, no? Kasi doon naman siya nag-umpisa eh. And yun din talaga yung parang
pinaglalaban at the end of the day.
Yung Cagayan Valley. I wanted to learn more about what they were doing there talaga.
True. Ang ganda ng sinabi mo na parang the documentary feels like it's already made up its mind. Kasi I personally believe that the documentary, its primary aim is to challenge the preconceived notions and the parang biases of the people watching it. Any kind of documentary, whether you side with one side or the other, at least after you watch any kind of documentary, a good documentary should make you parang think about the merits of either side. And you hit the nail on the head perfectly when you said na, wala this documentary is made up its mind.
Parang I feel like I'm being told something.
Sadly, it also vilifies those who do not partake in its message. Especially, sadly, kahit yung mga tao na parang hindi naman ganun for the lack of a better term, hindi ganun ka-alab yung fervor para dun sa ganung yung kung ano man yung subject matter nitong documentary na to. Kasi yun I believe that this is a documentary that's already preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
Na parang if this spoke to you, again, ibig sabihin nun, your mind's made up about things. Okay, not to say na the things that the documentary are what it's telling na parang mali is tama. No, of course not. Pero para siyang yung ang dami din yung mga aspects of the quote-unquote good side na parang hindi in-address. Na there are, very, very, very huge gaping gray areas.
Yeah.
In the morality of the people
gusto
involved.
Gusto ko sanang malaman kung ano yung kaso.
Yun pa.
Kasi parang, I feel for the struggle na kung ano yung pinagdadaanan nila. Pero gusto ko malaman, ano ba yung kaso? Ano bang nangyari? Ano ba yung incident? And parang medyo yun yung question siguro na nagstay sa akin na parang wait lang. I really wanna feel for the 3 people.
Yes.
And one of them parang medyo questionable kasi one of them is not alive anymore. So parang wala na yung side niya. So yung 2 na lang, kahit yung 2, I wanna know ano ba yung kaso, ano yung merits ng case. Which,
actually, yung isa meron.
Yung Alipato, yun yung magandang nagawa. Talagang dinetalyan niya kung ano yung mga kaso, ano ba talaga yung activity na ginagawa ng kapatid ni JL, di ba? And para sa akin, yun yung parang hindi na cover nitong documentary na to. We focused on just the emotional tug.
Yun. Kasi yung dun sa Alipato, yun ang talagang true crime documentary.
Data-driven siya.
Grabe talagang hindi man nire-enact, pero parang finalo ni JL yung footsteps ni Jonas on the day he disappeared. And everything else that followed, na kung saan siya sa palagay, supposedly dinala, etc. Dito, yun tama ka It's all emotion. Zero to no facts. Masyado.
I feel for the personas, pero sana kompleto yung picture.
Yun.
Anyways.
Sige. Yan. What's your grade for this?
Para sa akin, just basing it on the merits of a documentary and what I would consider a good documentary, para sa akin, it's just a C.
Actually, the same. Medyo, yun nga, it did not meet the criteria of a good documentary for me.
And as of recording time, Alipato and Muog, Alipato at Muog.
At Muog, yes.
Just one.
Best Picture.
Best Picture sa Urian.
Sa Gawad Urian.
So, congratulations. And, hindi naman sa dinidiscount natin yung pagsama ng documentary sa lineup ng Cinemalaya. Kasi nga, nagandahan naman tayo sa Alipato at Muog eh. Pero, ayun lang. Parang, as a documentary film itself, I am expecting a lot of information and data and mas buong kwento, mas buong detalye. Kesa yung parang emotional lang. Kasi if I'm looking for emotional, hanapin ko yon sa, sa films na lang, sa movies na, hindi sa documentary, di ba?
I hate to use the P word to describe this, pero it veers so close to that.
Ano yung P word?
1, 2, 3. Basta yung mahabang P word.
Ano yun? Hindi ko
Basta, yun na yun. Alam niyo na kung ano yun. Ako din C. Yeah, for bloom where you are planted.
Kung may hulaan nyo kung ano yung P-word, just comment.
Yes. You know that. Anyway, let's move on quickly to the next film in this episode. And that's Warla, written by Ara Jel Badayos, directed by Kevin Alhambra. So, logline dito sa website ng Cinemalaya. KitKat, a 19-year-old transgender woman, finds the family she's been longing for in a gang of sisters who kidnap foreign men to fund their gender-affirming surgeries until their crimes force her to question the true cost of belonging. Yes. Quite honestly, isa to sa mga pinaka-aabangan kong sine sa 2025 edition ng Cinemalaya. Especially nung lumabas na yung logline niya na para siyang may pagka-hustlers siya. Ang dating niya sa akin.
Actually, hindi ko binasa yung logline. Nag-base lang ako dun sa mga trailers na napapanood ko nung simula nung nagsimula tayo sa festival. Kasi hindi rin ako nanood nung any trailer beforehand. So parang teaser nga lang siya. Wala pang 1 minute. Para sa akin naman, ito yung parang crime thriller. Based on the teaser trailer. Hindi ko nakuha na may pagka-hustlers siya. Until yun nga, nung sinabi sa logline na, okay. I had high expectations. Kasi akala ko nga magiging crime thriller siya eh.
Yes.
Involving LGBT. So, this is a unique take on LGBT. Kasi di ba lagi naman tayong nasasanay na, ako, I have relatives, I have family and friends who are members of the LGBT community. And ang laging sinasabi nila sa akin na they would like to see LGBT characters portrayed na parang hindi naman sila laging ape or santo. Kasi hindi naman lahat ng LGBT mababait or perfect. But they want their stories told. They are sinners as well, not just saints. Parang ang trend kasi, di ba, since yung mga Vice Ganda movies, ganyan, laging, yun nga, and the breadwinner, lagi silang mga selfless martyrs, ganyan. And yun yung pinakagusto kong ginawa dito sa Warla. Parang it portrayed the LGBT members in a very different way.
In a very realistic light.
Yun din, isa pa yun.
Tama ka doon, na yun na nga parang every time we see movies and film festivals, yun na nga, laging the LGBT is portrayed in, yun na nga, either inaape or parang very, very saint-like. And ako personally, I feel like that's a disservice to them. Kasi that paints them as two-dimensional people when in fact they're not. They are some of the most multidimensional people I know. I have a lot of friends who are LGBTQ and I treasure them as people. And I wanted to see, a story that does well or does right by this multidimensionality that we all know is, in their life. Ngayon, nung, yun nga, tama ka, nakita dun sa trailer na parang, medyo parang true crime. Okay. Tapos sa logline, medyo lumalabas parang hustlers siya. Ito ba nakakatawa? Just something I noticed now. Nakita ko sa poster, sabi, in 2022, the police made a first-of-its-kind arrest, 8 transgender women in one gang. Na magaganda. Okay.
Nasa poster yan?
Nasa poster yan.
Sa Cinemalaya website?
Yes. Okay.
Oh.
There was no arrest made of 8 transgender women. It was just one.
Oo.
Si Khaled Karen lang.
And parang hindi yata yan yung name eh, 'di ba? Yung magaganda.
Yun, wala na siya, parang siyang ano lang, yung ano yung parang may style yung yung poster na parang ito, may mga heart, mga XOXO. So parang siyang stylistic choice siya, yung magaganda.
Sayang no, para sana siyang naging Usual Suspects.
Yun eh.
Or parang ano pa ba yung mga ganon, Oceans?
Pwede din. Ang sa akin, ang pinaka-cardinal sin nitong scene na to, it abruptly ended.
Oo, alam mo, just when it was getting good and interesting, parang bigla na lang siyang na-resolve. And alam mo yung parang biglang nag-al sa balutan. Ganun yung pakiramdam ko na parang, wait, ha?
Oo.
Yun na yun? Wait, ano nangyari?
Exactly. It's funny kasi we were at the point in the story na, di ba, yung nakakatawa pa nga kasi there was very, very meticulous care taken in introducing these chess pieces that we see on screen.
Ang ganda nga ng sobrang three-dimensional yung bawat character kahit hindi sila yung bida.
Exactly.
Yung mga secondary characters, nakilala natin.
Oo. Apat silang pinakakilala.
Ang gusto ko yung si Barbie Ann. Gusto ko yung kwento niya. Barbie Ann ba? Tama ba? Basta si Barbie, yung may anak.
Si Barbie. Siya, yung may anak. At saka yung isa yung si Luningning.
Oo, maganda din yung kwento niya.
Yung kwento niya. Pero dun sa pagkaka-introduce sa kanila, alam mo na agad yung plight nila eh. You feel for them. You want them to get their happy ending even though you already know that the story is not gonna give them their happy ending. Supposedly. Ang nakakatawa dito, just when the story was getting interesting, so, spoilers, may heist dapat silang ipupul or whatever, yung crime nilang ipupul nila. It went awry.
Yes.
And they tried to make their escape. At sa mga usual na scene na ganito, pag mag-e-escape na sila, yun na yung rising action na siya eh. Papunta na tayong climax eh. Tapos magkakaroon ng complications doon that makes the climax spicier.
Yeah.
Supposedly, may isang spicy development dito na, sinuplong ni Khaled Karen yung sarili niya. So, doon ang galing yung Warla kasi pinangalan ng pulis yun sa gang nila.
Yun nga eh, nagtaka nga ako dun sa poster, iba yung pangalan eh.
Diba?
Nunggang.
Ngayon, ang i-expect natin nun is parang because one of them, sinuplong nila yung may nagsuplong sa kanilang doon sa gang nila. Doon yung magiging complication na shit, naghahabulan na sila, nagtatataguan na sila.
Alam mo nga, akala ko yung last act itatry nilang itakas si Khaled Karen or something. Or parang they will also turn themselves in kasi they stick together, kumbaga.
Or they're all gonna turn on each other. Yun.
Pwede din. Or parang kanya-kanya silang parang reckoning sa mga problema talaga na kinakaharap nila, like yung SRS nga, 'di ba? Yun yung parang isa sa mga pinaka reason kung bakit nila ginagawa yung ginagawa nila. And also, yung talagang kumbaga mas bigger pa nilang pinoproblema, katulad ng family and yung love, 'di ba? And self-worth. So, yun yung parang sa akin missing. Kasi parang yun na dapat yung logical next step. After nung pag-turn in ni Khaled Karen, kasi parang bigla silang mabubuhusan ng malamig na tubig na parang, oh shit, what have we done?
What have we done? In the name of parang achieving our personal goals na parang have we lost sight of becoming decent human beings?
Or what's important, diba? Katulad nung anak ni Barbie.
Yan.
Diba?
Yan. Yun yung, kaya talaga parang nakaka-jar siya. Na parang, yun na. Tapos, yung ending pa niya.
Natapos dun sa rising action no?
Tapos, nung natapos na yung movie, ang chosen nilang ending is parang something that was supposed to harken back to the origin, to a plot point introduced in the first few minutes of the film, na pinakita dito yung character ng tatay ni Kit Kat, played by Floyd Dena, wasted Floyd Dena in this film, na abusive siya.
Balik na naman siya sa mga annoying roles.
Pero doon siya effective. Magaling siya. Pero anyway,
exactly.
Ang tawag dito, we want that kind of person to get their comeuppance.
Kasi sobrang portrayed sila as vile. Parang alam mo yung kapag nag-introduce ka ng bully, gusto mo sa dulo, mapaparusahan sila.
Tama.
Yun yung parang, that's my lizard brain.
Exactly.
Naghahanap ng satisfaction doon sa sinabi na yun sa umpisa na sinet up na yun.
Tapos may part pa dito na parang implied na binubugbog nung tatay niya, yung mama niya na si Dimples Romana. Tapos Yun, tama ka. Yun yung parang lizard brain natin thinking na parang mare-rescue niya yung nanay niya, magkakakuha ng kamapunch yung tatay niya.
It's cliché, yes. Pero kasi, yun nga yun yung hinahanap mong satisfaction na this is the story is supposed to go.
Yes. Tapos, ang ending niya, nakatakas silang dalawa.
Walang parang, in-between na yun, no?
Walang parang, hindi ba feeling ko may part dito, hindi ko lang alam kung pinakat nila for time kasi somewhere I heard to my lizard ear na parang ang Cinemalaya merong hard stop na 2 hours. Dito nakalagay siya 90 minutes. So either that part of the film made the film go over 2 hours or it was very, very violent. How it was supposed to end for Floyd Tena and his other son Tito.
I mean, wasn't it violent already?
Yun na nga exactly It was. Kaya sa akin para akong, so we got nothing.
Yung Alipato nga rated X
Di ba? So para sa akin, yung may logical na parang next step na wala, tapos tayo agad, tapos ending na.
Yun no? Parang there's something missing. Merong isang chunk ng story dito na parang feeling ko na-delete or something. Pero kung 90 minutes yan, dapat meron pa silang allowance for 30 minutes.
Wala.
Napaka-abrupt lang talaga. Parang feeling ko, bigla silang nag-pack up na okay na yan.
Wala na. Yan. Tapos,
sayang. Kasi ang ganda Nagustuhan ko talaga siya. Alam mo yung napaka-likeable nung lead actress natin, si Lance Reblando.
Yes.
She's very impressive. Introducing siya, no?
I think. Yeah.
Di ba? Tapos, of course, Kalad Karen, Jervy Wrightson, di ba?
Galing niya.
Magaling siya sa drama.
Para siyang yung talagang yung role ni J-Lo sa Hustlers. Ang galing niya. Talaga.
So, siya si J-Lo. Tapos, si Lance Constance Wu.
Yan.
Ang ganda sana nung premise. Ang galing din nung actress ni Barbie.
Nakakainis. Kasi yun na nga wala we were on the cusp of greatness. And then there was an entire act missing. Parang, where is the story? May director's cut ba to? Parang,
director's cut, no?
Ay, just go.
Release the Kevin Alhambra cut. The Alhambra cut.
True. Okay. Ako...
Alhambra pala, sorry.
Alhambra. Wala lang. No further notes, Your Honor. Disappointment kasi tapos
could have been better. Could have been great. Yeah.
Ikaw na rating mo dyan?
For Warla, I rated it C+.
Yeah, same. Gonna give it a C+ too. Talagang
missed opportunity.
Super.
And Kevin, if you're listening, just release the Alhambra cut.
Oo, please. Talaga.
Kasi mangangati yung utak ko. Gusto ko malaman kung ano yung nangyari in between. Paano niya napapayag si Dimples Romanang sumama sa kanya.
Oo.
Parang, kung ganun lang pala kadali, no? Na magkaroon, ma-wire lang ng money and yun lang, yung parang naging kasi I get it. Ewan ko, ang dami ko talagang hang-ups dito sa movie na to.
Ay,
hahaba tayo
Okay, sige.
Baka mas mahaba pa sa Warla.
Actually, baka itong rant natin pwedeng isalpak sa gitna nung pag-turn in ni Kalad Karen sa sarili niya tsaka sa ending. Maitapal man lang natin.
Sayang, no?
Anyway.
Nakakabitin.
Anyway, let's move on to the next film in this episode, and that's Paglilitis. Logline from the website. Years after experiencing sexual harassment at her workplace, a former executive assistant is persuaded by a passionate lawyer to file a case against her rich and highly respected boss. Okay, so, ito ata yung one of 2 films na tayo ay very polar opposites sa how we saw this. Or parang, ano ang ating thoughts dito? Sige, mauna ka. What did you think of Paglilitis?
Simulan ko na lang muna sa kung ano yung nagustuhan ko.
Sige.
Ang galing ni Rizzy. Ang galing ni lead actress.
Yes.
Sobrang impressed ako sa kanya, and this is also her first film. Introducing din siya dito.
Yes.
So, ang ganda na nabigyan niya talaga ng bigat, ng gravitas yung character. By the way, this is a story about parang Me Too in the workplace. And she just portrayed somebody who's just so traumatized and shaken by what happened to her.
Yes.
Especially nung kinukwento niya na yung kung ano yung nangyari, ni-recollect niya. kinukwento niya dun sa lawyer niya. Sobrang ganda na nakafocus lang yung camera sa kanya. I love her micro expressions on her face and yung boses. Talagang naramdaman ko, as in kinikilabutan ako para akong magbe-breakdown kapag pinapanood ko siya. And very natural din yung performance niya.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yun lang.
Okay, what did you not like about this film?
Oh my God, where do I start? Okay, siguro, ito lang ang pinaka in a nutshell. It feels like a teledrama. Parang, I'm gonna quote some of my friends na nagkwento din sa atin and I feel exactly the same. Para siyang MMK na may kapag may katwiran ipaglaban mo. Ganon. Para siyang ganon. Very parang afternoon drama. Yung pagkakagawa ng kwento or nung movie na it's full of cliche. I know, ako as a babae, as a woman, I feel for the female character, syempre, because this is a woman experiencing sexual harassment in the workplace.
Yes.
I mean, who would not like a story being told about that, 'di ba? Para baka isuka ako ng isang kababaihan kapag sinabi kong pangit yung tema na yon. Of course, it's very important theme, a very important message to send to the world. Pero, parang, bakit naman sobrang melodramatic? Meron pang parang asawa ng kontrabida na duplicitous na ewan. Parang very teleserye talaga. I mean, yung pagkakasulat, we know that they're real. There are people like that. Pero parang if you wanna parang portray them on screen, on film, sana naman mas medyo konti pang creativity or finesse. Hindi yung magre-resort tayo sa sobrang common denominator. Tapos pati yung lawyer. Oh my God! I feel like I'm watching a Shondaland show. Sobrang daming twist. 'Di ba?
Well.
Ayun na.
Ito, sige.
Hindi, ikaw nagustuhan mo to
Yes, ako,
nagustuhan
sige.
mo, ako yun nga.
Yan, sige. Nagustuhan ko siya, yung paglilitis. And siguro, I'll start with the concept itself na I found refreshing. Kasi, pag sinabi ang sine, pagangalan, paglilitis, or trial, mag-i-expect kayo ng courtroom drama. I appreciated that it was smart enough to parang subvert those expectations. And instead, parang ako, nag-click sa akin siya. Sige, sabihin niyo ng simple tone ako. Sabihin niyo ng mababaw yung pagtingin ko sa sine.
Grabe, hindi ko naman sinabi na gano'n.
Sabihin ko na, so yung ibig sabihin ng paglilitis is, yung kung paano siya dumaan through the ringer sa social media, yung pamilya niya naharas dahil nag-speak up siya for, what happened to her, na yun na yung paglilitis sa kanya. Na she's gone through trial by publicity, trial by social media. And again nga, I like na yung everyone is expecting a courtroom drama, subverted yung expectation doon. Ito yung isa pang na-appreciate ko dito sa ginawa ng paglilitis na it's sad that this kind of subject matter is supposedly parang very important.
It is.
Yun na nga. Kaya nga, and what I mean by supposedly is parang laging sinasabi na parang, uy, ito dapat parang awa nyo na mga lalaki at kahit yung mga ibang babae na nanghaharas ng ibang babae, huwag kayong mangharas ng babae. Parang it's such a it's supposedly na parang siyang very simple truth of life na parang don't do anything bad to other people, and yet we always have to be reminded of why it's wrong to do that. The way I view this, kaya siguro parang for some, it came across as melodramatic or parang sobrang MMK, ganun yung pagkakagawa niya kasi yun na nga every time parang we get this kind of subject matter, parang piece of media, sine, TV show, parang we have to always resort to making the message as quote-unquote digestible as possible para yung mga caveman brain na mga lalaki na nanghaharas ng babae, maintindihan nila kung gaano sila kamali.
So parang you think they intentionally made it this simple?
Kasi, I believe that
At parang PSA, gano'n.
In my opinion, I believe that was the intention. To make the message as digestible as possible for a wider range of, audience members. Kasi if you run the risk of being too avant-garde, na parang masyado kang doon sa techniques nagfo-focus, okay? Magiging ka naman, The Hearing. Nothing against The Hearing. We like The Hearing, one of our favorite films from last year. Pero, in my opinion, in retrospect, okay, looking back on the film, para siyang, I remember The Hearing more for its filmmaking gimmick than what it was about. Para siyang yun yung top of mind. Hindi ko sinasabi na parang, I forgot na it's about yung child abuse. Hindi. Pero more siya na parang, if I hear The Hearing, maiisip ko agad is parang, yun yung sine na parang pag nagsasalita yung character na isa, para siyang point of view yung camera angles, ganun. Mas dun sa gimmick pupunta yung utak ko eh. Whereas, I think na time will be more kinder to paglilitis kasi whenever I am going to remember, whenever someone's gonna say, naalala niyo yung paglilitis na movie sa Cinemalaya noong 2025, ang maiisip ko more is parang yung, how it made me feel about how devastated the victim was because of what happened in the story as compared to the gimmick. If there was a gimmick, wala naman dito. Pero
walang ang gimmick kasi nga, it was very straightforward. There's no parang wala namang nuance eh kasi sobrang straight nga siyang pinlay, 'di ba? Siguro ang problema ko lang is as much as I like the performance of the lead actress, parang yung characterization niya is a little bit inconsistent.
Okay.
Kasi ito na nga, 'di ba? She wanted to gain back control over her life and take back her power and her story, 'di ba? Kaya lang kasi, yung pagkakasulat sa kanya, parang sobrang typical teleserye bida na lahat na lang ng tao niloko siya, lahat na lang ng tao inapi siya. And ang pinakamalaking abuser niya, bukod dun sa boss niya na si Leo Martinez, na hindi ko maintindihan bakit pinatay. Pero mamaya ako dun. Bukod dun sa boss niya, ang pinaka-kontrabida sa buhay niya ay yung pamilya niya. Pero hindi niya kayang mag-stand up against sa pamilya niya. So if this is a story about standing up to your abusers, why couldn't she do it to her family? Kahit I just need one scene. Nasagutin niya lang yung nanay niya na parang, wait lang ma ha. Yung ganun. Parang, it's just so frustrating na she's fighting the boss who abused her, who's already dead. Samantalang yung pamilya niyang inaabuso pa rin siya hanggang ngayon, buhay pa. Hindi man lang niya ma-call out kahit isang beses.
Pero ito sabihin ko in real life ba magagawa yun? Kasi para sa akin just,
nagkaroon na ng opportunity.
I'm talking about in real life. If that same person was presented with the opportunity na sumagot sa magulang niya, I'm pretty sure that the majority of Filipinos will, anong term na yun? Rationalize in their head na their family is not in the wrong whatever happens in this case. Kasi ang sinabi dun sa sine na dahilan kung bakit siya nagstay doon sa company is because kailangan nila yung HMO para dun sa tatay niya na may sakit. Okay. Ngayon, nakinig pa rin yung nanay niya nagsabi niya sa kanya noon. Next naman, nung nagkakasuhan na, yung nanay niya yung nag-convince sa kanya na kailangan nilang magkaso dun sa tao na nag-abuse sa kanya kasi ang sabi ni Yula Valdez, mananalo sila. Nabulag sila ng parehas doon sa pera kasi kailangan talaga ng pangpagamot ng tatay pa rin niya. Now, dito papasok yung sa akin na ako, personally, I didn't see this as melodramatic. I saw this as real life. It is warts and all. Na parang the typical Filipino person, okay? Of course, not me kasi I'm an unusual Filipino person. Pero wow. alam kong mga Pinoy, kahit ginagago na sila ng pamilya nila, hindi sila sasagot ng pabalang. They will try to rationalize every single possible reason to think na the family is not in the wrong ever. They will try to find a boogeyman outside of the family to say na yun yung dahilan kung bakit nagkakandaleche-leche yung buhay nila. Pero hindi nila sisisihin yung family nila. So, para sa akin, dun pumapasok na, okay, this feels authentic. It's real life.
So, documentary pala?
Hindi. It's written to reflect real life.
Pero kasi, ewan ko, parang at every turn natitrigger ako. Kasi parang lahat na lang, nothing goes her way. Parang, Diyos ko, nakakapagod na. Nakakapagod sundan yung kwento niya. Kasi parang, she can't catch a break.
Actually, if I may say pa nga medyo parang meron konting meta reference yung title niya kasi ang kanyang title, paglilitis, English title niya, A Trial. Parang pa niya siya sabihin na, The Trial na parang everything is happening around her is Kafkaesque. Na parang the system is doing its best to fuck her over and there's nothing that she can do to get a break, to get a win.
I was exhausted when I watched it, emotionally and mentally. Parang...
Yan. Kaya sa akin parang siyang I really really like this kasi parang it shows real life, it shows how Kafkaesque real life is, na talagang parang there is no winning in real life unless
that's just
tao.
Bleak.
Well, real life is bleak and so is subject matter, and I appreciated na hindi niya sinugarcoat how bleak everything is. Pero ang ano ko dito is yung ang performance ni Rizzy Reyes Robinson. And kita mo pa rin yung fire niya, yung talagang she just wants to fight. If not for getting the quote-unquote settlement, yung win, yung pera, whatever, parang na lang sa ano niya, sa pagkatao niya. Na parang kahit sobra niya niyang durog sa social media, kahit ginago na siya nung abogado na dapat lumapit sa kanya to say na she's gonna help her, and then parang ending gusto lang gamitin siya as a platform to run for office. I appreciated na parang yun na nga, this is the triumph of the Filipino spirit in spite of a Kafkaesque existence here in the Philippines.
I just saw it as parang series of unfortunate events, and even until the very end, wala pa rin siyang wala pa ring hope. So it felt so bleak, and also na-trigger ako dun sa the villain just got away with it so easily.
Yun na nga eh.
Yun yung pinaka naiinis ako eh.
Yun na nga yung
I mean, as a viewer, I don't want to think about it as real life. Kaya nga ako nasa scene, di ba? Pero, ayun lang, sobrang nakaka-frustrate lang na bakit ganun? Parang, lalo pa yung pagkaka-portray ni Leo Martinez, sobrang vile. You just want him to suffer.
Pero,
alam mo yun?
Tanungin kita, if she got a happy ending, would you consider this an independent film or a mainstream film?
Ayoko naman ng parang typical happy ending, pero at least man lang, she got a little bit of power back. Kasi yun yung parang wala siyang nakuha, wala siyang napala.
Pero
paano mo yun?
Wouldn't you say na parang her persevering at the end, even though wala siyang tangible win, is already a win of her spirit na she keeps fighting?
Not the kind of parang Rocky. If that's what you're implying, no. Kasi parang wala eh. Kahit yung binababaan pa rin siya nung telepono ng mga ibang victims eh. Parang, what? And she's still with her family. I mean, and she's still being abused by her family. So parang wala.
A lot of people who, choose to evade conflict just to say na walang sila.
Mas pangit pa yung kinalabasan nung nung naging ending niya kasi kilala na siya, binabash na siya ngayon sa social media, nasira yung buhay niya. Tapos walang anything na nangyari to at least help her.
Ay nako. I like this one. I hope she gets nominated for Best Actress.
Yes.
She's a dark horse winner.
I love her as an actress, pero the story was kakapagod.
The story needed was exactly what these times needed.
Tapos yun pang paggamit pa ng mga prayers dun sa script. Sobrang nakaka-trigger talaga siya. Nakaka-trigger tapos hindi nila nakuha kung ano yung kamapans nila. Kahit man lang konti. Kahit yun man lang isa.
Diba?
Hindi, this is a movie. This is not real life. I don't wanna watch news in film.
This is an independent film festival. It's not a regal film.
Hindi naman, it's not black and white.
It's not a happy
film. I just need something.
Okay.
Hindi ko naman kailangan ng extreme. Pero yeah.
Ay, nako.
Pero sobrang talagang opposing tayo dito.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it a B+.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a C.
Yeah. Let's go paglilitis. Anyway, let's move on to the next film in this episode, and that's Republika ng Pilipinas. Logline sa website, when the local government threatens to evict her from her own land, farmer renounces her Filipino citizenship and builds her own micronation. Start mo na ako dito. Masabi ko lang, this was a very wasted concept. I felt sad for the film after watching it na parang, yun lang, napaka-high concept na naisip nilang gawing parang idea, and that's where it went. Na parang, it's just, bawal kayo sa parang yung corrupt bad, ganun. Parang hindi niya in-explore yung fact na parang, bakit ba ayaw ng tao na sa Pilipinas? Oo, may mga parts dito. Pero parang masyadong interspersed with unnecessary comedic stylings. Ikaw?
Let me just start with the things that I like muna.
Sige.
Para hindi naman tayo masyadong nega dito.
Ay nako, nakakapagod tong taon na to ng Cinemalaya. Masabi ko lang. Okay.
I like the concept. Yon. On paper, it sounds interesting talaga. Para siyang may pagka Lord of the Flies. Ganon. Para siyang fable, cautionary tale. You imagine it to be sobrang hyper-realistic ba?
High concept.
It's high concept, and you think of people here as parang figures and caricatures. They're not real persons that you would know. They are parang symbols and metaphors for something that we can reference in real life. Nakulangan ako dun sa moving parts nitong concept na to. Kasi the idea of a micronation, yun nga yung magandang ginawa sa umpisa. It established that there are micronations. And it's really valid to feel na you don't want to be part of your country anymore. Therefore, you would start or you would form your own country. And may mga gumawa na pala nun. So, I learned something new here. So, may natutunan na naman ako. Pero, yung pagkaka-execute kasi nung Republika ng Pilipinas ni Cora, parang, alam mo yung napakahilaw. Siguro yun din yung purpose nung kwento niya is hilaw siya. She just wanted out of the Philippines kasi hindi na siya happy. So, nag-try siyang gumawa ng bansa na hilaw. Parang nag-end up na hilaw din yung concept ng movie. Kasi yun din yung parang gustong isipin siguro nung nag-conceptualize nito, pero hilaw nga yung idea.
I mean, if that was what they're going for, then kudos to them. Pero din sa totality ng scene, parang I don't wanna give them that kind of kudos na naisip nila yun. Because unang-una sa lahat, it is a mockumentary. It looks so clean to be a mockumentary. Na parang, and nakakatawa, there are parts in the film that it forgets that it's a mockumentary.
Wala na nga nung mga talking heads, no?
Nawala na yung talking heads. Tsaka yung tipong, how do people shoot a documentary? Okay, how do documentarians shoot their work? Hindi siya yung parang i-frame niya na may blocking at merong parang yung kung paano ang artista sa isang drama or sa comedy. Hindi. A documentarian just gets, the action as it happens. Kaya nga siya documentary. They're just documenting. Okay. May mga parts doon sa dulo. From the mid to the end part na parang, parang naka-tripod na yung camera.
Hindi na handheld.
Hindi na handheld. At naka-blocking na yung mga artista.
Oo.
Parang,
biglang na-shatter yung illusion na mockumentary siya. No?
Bigla siyang naging sine.
Na ina-acknowledge naman, di ba, na may mga mockumentary team.
May
documentary team.
Oo, meron. Kasi sa simula, may tanong na parang, gusto niyo ba mag-Pilipino? Tapos
may nagtatanong sa di ba?
May producer figure. Tapos yung tinanong na parang, kayo, masaya pa ba kayo maging Pilipino? Yung camera nag-shake ng ulo. Gano'n. So established na may documentary team.
Sayang, no? Kasi ito sana yung parang nagustuhan ko talaga yung concept niya na yun nga, documentary pa siya kasi may mga in-interview pa ng mga historians diba?
Si Xiao Chu was.
Nandun siya. Tapos yung the way na kung paano nila kino-cover yung kwento ni Cora sa umpisa. Pero there are moments na may mga sequence na parang wait, yung documentary team na shoot ito. Na parang sobra ng inside the premises, yung mga ganon, or yung mga sobrang personal scenes. And yun nga, minsan, di ba, ina-acknowledge pa ng mga characters yung camera.
Yes.
And then there are sequences na parang hindi. And I get that. Pwede naman kasing mawala sa isip ng mga character na may documentary team dyan. I give them that benefit of the doubt. Pero, ayun, parang it was too high concept, I guess. Kahit yung kung paano yung dynamic nila nung yung cabinet members and all that, yun medyo interesting part yun sa akin.
It was trying to say something. Actually, yung nung nagkakaroon nga ng cabinet na yun, parang medyo na-perk ako ng konti. Kasi parang,
yun, maganda yung part na yun.
Okay, so they're going to go for the angle na parang no matter where you go, quote-unquote, no matter what nation you create, quote-unquote, you're still gonna experience the same problems na nasa Pilipinas. Hindi mo
you're set up to fail, kumbaga, parang ganun.
Pwedeng ganun, oo.
Or parang, ang gusto ko pa nga sanang akala ko kung saan siya pupunta is democracy is a broken system.
Yan. Diba?
Yun sana yung gusto kong parang thesis statement na to na in any country, kahit pagano kayo ka-honest nagsimula and simple, you wanted life to be simple, but if there are too many chefs in the kitchen na nagsasabi kung ano yung dapat gawin. Ganon, mauulit at mauulit lang. It's a cycle. It's supposed to be a microcosm of the entire country.
That's true.
Diba? And yun nga, may mga nag-usurp ng power, may ibang gustong umepal, may ibang gusto lang magpasikat, may ibang gusto lang mag-viral.
Yun. So, basically, it's the Philippines. In a nutshell, tama ka. Oh.
Pero, saan siya napunta? Kasi, I just derived that.
Oh.
Kasi yun yung gusto ko sanang makita. Pero, hindi yun yung naging ending eh.
Nakakatawa pa dito, parang...
It just became so localized na it's just about the lupa na lang pala.
Tsaka yung ang daming mga character dito na, feel like they're in different films. Yung parang spokesperson ng mayor, she's in a very different film than the rest of the people here. Ako, some people like it that she's here. Ako, I felt that it was a detriment to the film. Alessandra De Rossi did not have to be in this film. Okay? She did not, walang artista had to be in this film. Kasi parang yun na nga, it takes away from the message of the film. And then yung
meron akong isang nakuhang message kung bakit. It's just a statement on artistas running for office.
So
yun lang.
So yung isang punchline na yun, may linya kasi na parang, ba, diyan, may artista na naman tayo, magiging politiko. So yun lang talaga.
Pero other than that, other than that, parang hindi ko na makita kung bakit. Or kung if I take her away from the equation, parang walang magbabago. Ang ano ko is, ito, slight comment lang siguro. This is a personal nitpick on my part. I get na puro mga theater actors yung karamihan sa mga nakast dito. Pero, alam mo yung...
Si Kaki Chodoro nandito.
Tsaka yung iba pang mga theater actors na you will know kapag ka-theater actor kapag sobrang sumisigaw sila in scenes na hindi kailangan sumigaw. Parang para sa akin, parang feeling ko, this movie is in caps lock the entire, especially dun sa medyo ending part na talagang, sakit na ng tenga ko. Sisigawan sila all the time.
Ay, may sinasabi mo tungkol sa pagdilitis kanina, na sobrang mong exhausted after the film. Dito siya, ako sa Pilipinas, I felt so exhausted after this one.
Siguro dahil kasi lahat naka 100 yung emotion, especially dun sa mga parts na, wait, kailangan niyo ba talagang sumigaw para dito na intense talagang labas-lited sigaw?
Alam mo yung may umiikot sa reels sa TikTok na parang yung may difference between theater acting, normal behavior, and film acting. Sana napanood nung cast ito, yung video na yun, na parang hindi lahat sumisigaw hindi lahat sumisigaw lagi dapat. Alam
mo, isa pa yon yung parang sinabi mo kanina, yung spokesperson ni Mayor.
Oo.
Alam mo yung kapag ka you're really performing for a camera. Kasi nga, this is supposed to be a mockumentary nga, di ba? So parang...
It's a freaking mockumentary. My God.
Yung over-enunciation ng words and all that, parang it just took me away from the illusion. Kasi, ayun nga kapag mockumentary, usually, di ba, panood naman natin lahat in The Office.
Oo, yung ganun. Di ba? Ang dami-daming pwedeng paghugutan. Hindi sinasabing gagayahin nyo, pero at least, merong pwedeng pagtignan na ito ang mockumentaries of the past. Okay?
Kailangan ba lahat Michael Scott?
Diyos, oh my God. Alam mo kung lahat Michael Scott dun sa The Office, hindi magsasurvive yung palabas na yan.
Kaya nga sobrang niyang exhausting pakinggan, sabay-sabay sila nagsasalita, wala na akong maintindihan.
Tsaka yung sa dulo na parang meron mo yung parang do you hear the people sing moments na parang okay.
It was not
it's
earned.
It's not a mockumentary anymore.
Oo. Hindi, tsaka it was not earned kasi ano bang bumalik sila doon para kay Cora. Bakit?
Exactly.
'Di ba? Anong nagbago? Iniwan nila si Cora tapos biglang binalikan nila.
Ano siya? Wala. Napaka-teatro ending lang niya. Na parang magkakaroon na ng reprise na lahat ng cast na sa dulo. Tapos magkakarte. Kulang na lang sana tumingin sila lahat sa camera at nagbow silang lahat. That would have made it theatrical.
Pero napagod din ako dun sa scene na to. Alam mo, medyo marami-raming movies this year na sobrang nakakapagod panoorin and medyo mid sa akin.
Yeah. Ako sa akin.
So, parang sa akin, mas maganda yung mga nakaraang taon na Cinemalaya. I'm sorry.
Ako sa akin, C+ lang to.
Sa akin, it's a C.
Alam mo yung high concept Whenever you're going to try to use a canvas na sobrang beloved and has resulted in a lot of classic, works of art coming out, you better come to play.
And ang dami din mga jokes na hindi masyadong nagland for me.
Isa pa yun, daming pasakali, patawan, hindi naman kailangan.
Ano siya cheap pop, yung iba.
Para
maka-punchline ganun. Para sa akin
Yung naalala kong, ko dun sa napanood natin, nakaganon na, no? Yung parang nakalil lang yung ulo ko dun sa braso ko, sa armrest na ganyan. Tapos pag may mga ganyan, parang,
Pero people eat it up. I mean, ang daming natatapos sa paligid natin, pero siguro it's not for me.
Oh,
hindi ako yung target audience siguro nito, I guess.
Theater kids, this is your film. Go.
Ayoko ng films na puro sigaw eh.
Yeah. Exhausting. Anyway, so that's it for Republika ng Pilipinas. Kumusta ka naman so far?
Pagod na din ako.
Nakakapagod tong taon na to. Grabe, no? Pero last two. We're gonna end this on a high note. Kasi yung next two films that we're gonna talk about, medyo maganda naman ang ating estimation doon. Let's start with the first one na we are going to, be talking about positively naman. And that's Open Endings. Again, written by Kivi Eunice Vicente, directed by Nigel Santos, starring Janela Salvador, Clea Pineda, Jasmine Curtis Smith, and in her introductory role, Lian Mamonong.
Okay.
Yan. So, ang lagline dito, 4 queer women in their 30s who are exes turned best friends navigate adulthood, love, friendship, chosen families, and everything in between. Masabi ko lang, ang ganda ng lagline niya. Kasi it absolutely reveals nothing about how fantastic this film is.
And also does not promise something na hindi naman pala lalabas sa sine. Alam mo, isa sa mga problema ko yun sa laglines Kapag sobrang layo nung logline dun sa mapapanood mo, minsan false advertising pa.
Jing.
Marami, meron din. Yung isa naalala ko, yung ano yun? Sepak Takraw ba yun? Isa pa yun Asar ako dun sa logline. Parang, nasan be?
Ay, nako.
Naguluhan ako dun, nak. Talagang wala Wala akong nakita dun sa logline. Anyway. Ito, one of the good loglines. And, ayun, nagustuhan ko talaga yung kwento nito. Alam mo, masabi ko lang meron akong best friend from elementary na lesbian. Tapos, isa sa mga talagang hindi ko maintindihan na meron siyang group of friends na puro mga shivorlalay na mag-e-ex nga sila. Tapos barkada sila. Sabi ko, paano yun?
So, accurate talaga to.
Hindi ko alam kung gaano kauso or gaano karami yung mga cluster na gano'n. Pero, as in, I know of one na talagang mag-e-ex sila. Tapos sabi ko, e-ex mo? Bakit friend mo? Ang weird. Tapos magbabarkada pa kayo, nag-hangout kayo, tapos mag-ex kayo, tapos yung dalawang ex niyong magjowa din, Anyway, napaka-accurate nun. Accurate yung part na yon.
Ako naman, ang pinaka... sige, masabi ko lang. In all honesty, this was the film that I had lowest of the expectations going in. Kasi this felt like and seemed like na parang so mainstream, kumbaga.
Well, because of the actors then, yes.
Yun, oo. Na parang siya yung pinaka parang, and hindi siya yung mainstream na parang, kumbaga yung parang Child 82. Na wink, wink, nudge, nudge siya na parang, they really had to use mainstream people in that story for that story to work. Yung satire ng 80 ng Boy Ka Na.
Or parang, let's say, yung from last year na Love Child. Na talagang commercial appeal ang habol.
Can we not?
Hindi you mentioned mainstream. So, yun talaga yung may isip ko na yung mainstream na misplaced in an independent film festival. True. Alam mo yung ganon? Na parang, ay maduga.
True. Pero, I was pleasantly surprised na in spite of yung opening na parang, alam mo yung opening niya parang siya mukha yung co-love pa.
Oo nga.
Na parang may yung mga sobrang
may sobrang, mga vignettes.
Vignettes, sobrang flashy colors, made for Gen Z. Ganon, na parang opening. Na talagang pangbata, so to speak. I was blown away with how mature yung handling ng story, ng friendship ng 4 female protagonists natin. How none of them were demonized and vilified for all the choices that they made in their life.
Yeah.
These are just 4 friends trying to navigate ito, without spoiling anything, kasi ito, I absolutely will not spoil. I promise to not spoil anything. I want people to experience this fresh kasi sobrang ganda talaga nitong scene na to. There is a complication in this film that challenges the friendship of all four of them.
Oo,
and
sobrang
shakes them to their core.
Sobrang relatable at the same time believable. Nakikita mo kung na iba-iba yung way nila ng pag-cope. Tapos they have very differing and unique perspectives on yun nga yung thing that's parang shaking the
Status
foundation of their friendship,
Yes.
'di ba? So ang ganda nung kwento niya, nung pagkakatahi-tahi, and also yung complications din. Na-mention ko sa'yo na para siyang Sex and the City for lesbians. Or L-word ba yun?
I think, yeah.
Hindi, maganda siya kasi yung talagang premise nung kwento, which is friends, parang hindi naman tayo doon. Parang short-change doon na parang, hindi, parang Shondaland to na they're sleeping behind each other's backs. Hindi naman.
Hindi.
Parang talagang, it was presented as it is. And they were parang painted, yung mga characters, as multidimensional.
Yan, napaka-mature, multidimensional. Yung sinabi mo dun sa relatability, parang, even in a heteronormative setting, yung as a straight person, you know of people like this. Kahit yung mga magkakaibigan na parang yung lalaki at babae na magka-ex dati, tapos biglang, paano nagawa yun? Parang ganun eh. May mga kilala kang ganun eh. Ngayon, what made this very, very parang just ako yung blown away was how fantastic the acting was. From everybody involved. Ako, sige, mabilisan lang. Kay Janelle Salvador, ang pagkakaalam ko lang sa kanya is parang kung ano yung nasa Malyari, kung ano yung sa Fleeting, dun sa Sinipanalo earlier this year. So, I wasn't expecting much. Pero I was pleasantly surprised to see na parang there is another layer, another dimension to her acting. Na yung sobra niyang kulit, sobra niyang kalog. Na parang ito yung acting niya na parang this sort of feels like her.
Parang you can feel her joy and authenticity.
Yun.
Parang nawala yung sheen of yung Janelle Salvador as the actress or parang as the parang love team actress.
Or Janelle Salvador, the personality. The media personality. Parang hindi. Parang this feels like Janelle Salvador, the person.
Living her truth. Parang ganun,
talaga.
No?
Jasmine Curtis Smith, fantastic.
As always.
As always. Like, ako nga sabi, the queen of independent film para sa akin.
Well, bukod kay Gabby Padilla.
Yes. Sila naman nag-aagaw sa corona na yun.
Pero kasi si Jasmine, mas more mainstream pa nga siya eh.
Yun. Pero pag nakita mo si Jasmine in any cast, parang, okay. May fighting chance yung training yan.
Tsaka marunong siyang pumili ng role. And perfect na perfect siya dito sa role na to. She is the emotional core of this movie.
Yes, talaga. So, yan, without saying anything, yan, siya yung emotional core. Itong next two, ito yung revelation sa akin. Yes, I was not expecting how great they were. Simulan natin si Clea Pineda.
Ako, hindi ko talaga siya kilala. To be honest, I think she won yata Starstruck. Na-check ko sa Wikipedia niya.
Talaga ba?
Pero yung mga Starstruck na hindi na natin napapanood.
Okay.
Hanggang lang tayo, Jeneline Mercado.
Hanggang tayo, sino yung
Raisa Senon ba?
Sino yung namatay?
Marquishelo.
Hanggang Marquishelo pa tayo.
Talaga, hindi ko na naabot. Parang hanggang kaya.
Gabi din naabutan. High school tayo noon.
Hindi ko na naabutan yan eh.
Okay.
Kay lang ako, kay Lafyang.
Okay.
Hindi, charot lang. Pero, yan. Dun yata siya.
Okay.
She won. If I remember correctly. Tama ba? She's the winner.
Yeah.
Yan. So, pero, wala nga eh. Hindi ko nga alam eh. Talagang wala siya sa radar ko.
Hindi, wala. Nagtatrabaho na kasi tayo na ito. Kaya hindi natin ito pinapanood na.
Anong taon ba?
2015.
Pero tagal na pala niya.
Oo.
So, ngayon ko lang siya nakita on screen.
Yes.
I haven't seen her in anything that I've watched. And grabe. Nagulat ako. Ang galing ng comedic timing niya.
Ang galing niya.
Ang galing ng delivery niya ng line niya. The camera loves her.
Oo.
Diba? Parang napaka-magnetic nung presence niya on screen.
Sorry, masabi ko lang correct me if I'm wrong hindi ba siya parang yung character dito, parang siyang si Samantha? Sa Sex and the City.
Actually, oo. Ay, baka ma-spoil na yan.
Siya, hindi naman siya nagtataluhan sa Sex and the City.
Well, true.
Pero siya, I mean that in a
siya
sense
yung parang
na
Samantha figure.
siya yung wild card. Siya yung parang firecracker doon sa grupo.
Yes.
Nakakatawa na parang, hindi, yun na nga may layers doon sa pagiging firecracker niyang personality. Hindi siya yung parang, patawa lang dahil sa patawa. May informed. Yung parang, yung kung bakit ganun yung coping mechanism niya at kung bakit ganun niya lang yung love niya para sa friends niya. Basta, ang galing talaga. Ako, best supporting actress ko siya.
Gusto ko siya kasi ang smooth niya mag-deliver ng lines. And kapag kakailangan na ng medyo serious na, hindi naman siya sobrang parang basang sisiw. Kapag ka-drama na. May mga ganun na ang galing kapag comedy. Pero kapag biglang nag-serious, parang, ay, wink. Ganon. Hindi siya ganon. So, I'm excited to see what else she does next. Kasi, wow, she's very good here. Parang, she's a scene stealer. Para siyang si Benicio del Toro.
Sa
One Battle After Another.
Para siyang ganon.
Every time she's on screen, you know na something fun is gonna happen.
The screen just lights up when she's on it. As sino to? Si Kit? Tama? Si Marikit. Galing talaga. Pero we have to give this, yung MVP nitong scene na to, siya yung introducing.
Pero grabe, no?
Siya yung MVP ng scene. That's fantastic. Si Lian Mamonong.
Ang galing niya.
Ang galing niya. Napaka mind-blow. Ang galing nila lahat dito.
Ang galing ng delivery ng lines niya. Sobrang natural. She's a natural.
Galing nila. And apparently, parang sinasabi sa atin ng SBPH, Sinihan Buddies PH, na hindi siya theater actress.
Or an actress at all.
She's a singer?
Musician.
Musician? Parang, wow!
Tapos alam ba, sidebar lang kakilala pala siya ng mga friends nating musician. Well, I used to be a singer as well. And nakita ko sa post ni Faye Yupano, shoutout kay Faye.
Ay, talaga ba?
She's a fellow singer as well. And parang nag-collaborate sila. So, medyo nasa jazz scene din pala siya. So, we may have common friends.
You may have also crossed paths,
pero, yeah, hindi ko siya kilala personally.
Okay.
Pero, ayun, nakita ko kahit si Nicole Tejedor, married name niya si Reluya. Saxophonist. Parang nakita ko na, meron silang mga collaborations. Oh, wow. So, nasa pala talaga siya.
Nasa circulation talaga siya.
Anyway,
awesome.
Ang galing niya dito. You would think na sobrang experienced niya ng indie actress or kung theater ba siya galing. Kasi, I mean, ang galing niya Hindi niya dinadaan sa lakas. Hindi niya dinadaan sa postura. Yung acting niya sa projection. She's acting as a normal person would. She felt like a real person. Kung paano siya magsalita, kung paano niya kausapin yung mga ibang characters, you would believe na they have been friends for years.
Yes, talaga. And that is a huge testament to the fantastic writing of this film by Kivi Eunice Vicente. Talagang, I don't want to parang assume. So, it may be, maybe not, na Kivi may be writing this from her truths. I think na lesbian din siya. Kaya sobrang authentic ng story. Pero kung hindi naman, then even more props kasi parang sobrang talaga nakagawa siya ng very authentic na tale.
Alam mo, sobrang authentic talaga.
Isang word.
Alam mo, mayroon akong, kasi nga, I am an ally. Pero ang dami kong friends na lesbians and gays. And isa sa mga pinaka totoo dito sa movie na to is yung obsession ng mga friends kong les dito sa particular song na to. Sobrang favorite talaga nila yun. As in, hindi ko alam kung bakit sa kanila talaga uma-appeal tong kantang to. Pero nung nag-play yun sa movie, parang sabi ko, puta, sorry.
Ay, nagpalakpakan lahat ng biglang nag-play. Wow, yay!
As in, talagang sabi ko, oh my God, sobrang totoo yun. So, feeling ko talagang they know their thing. They know what they're talking about in this movie.
Also si Nigel Santos, them working in tandem. Sobrang galing. Ako ito, masabi ko lang as a straight guy, watching this story, I felt na I was educated in the worldview and in the life experiences of lesbians. Kasi, I mean, kumbaga sa society sa Pilipinas, unfairly na parang hindi man siya marginalized, that's not the term I'm looking for, pero more na parang they're pigeonholed into this singular parang type na parang pag lesbian at tibo. Yung gano'n na butch. Ganun.
Oo.
Pero my eyes were opened to how parang diverse yung the lesbian experience was.
Yes.
And yun na nga na parang even yung kanilang even the fact na parang, and I'm so sorry if this sounds ignorant of me, pero even how universal and relatable even their relationship problems are talaga. Na yung parang akala kasi pag heteronormative ka, parang ang experience mo in like relationships, pursuing relationships, itong isang singular straight line lang. Pardon the pun. Pero isipin mo pag LGBT, parang iba-iba yung way nilang pagliligawan, yung mga ganun, whatever.
Or parang meron pang notion na sino lalaki sa inyo?
Yung ganun.
Sino babae sa inyo? Di ba? Parang,
exactly.
Napaka-backward nung ganung thinking.
Pero I loved how parang this story, this tale just, isn't exclusionary in the sense na parang, mga LGBT lang ang makaka-appreciate nito.
No, it was nothing like that.
It's a very universal story.
Yun nga parang the way the writer depicted the stories of the intertwined, web of relationships between these 4 women. Alam mo yung, it's not about them being lesbians It's about them being people struggling with their feelings and with their emotions.
Yes.
That any gender, any person of any gender can relate.
Yes.
So it's a universal tale. It doesn't really, parang box it to the lesbian experience.
True.
And ito yung pinaka magandang ginawa niya as compared to yung ibang mga GL or BL na napapanood natin. Kasi kahit na straight tayo, we still appreciate the GL and BL stories and movies.
Pero kasi, ang masabi ko lang kasi sa mga GL and BL stories that we see, in my opinion, they focus more on yung parang yung pakilig aspect of those relationships.
Yun yung hook
Medyo, sa akin medyo parang I understand kung yun yung parang gusto nila maging atake kasi exactly, they want to hook in the target audience for it to get more viewership. Pero I would like to see more of these kinds of tales na parang, parang demonstrate that and break the taboo. Na parang the LGBT are quote-unquote a different type of people from us. Hindi, no. They're humans like us. They love like us. They live and breathe every day.
They get hurt like
us. Yun. And talagang...
Ito, tsaka Warla, no?
Yun yung sa Warla. Kaya yun yung frustration ko sa Warla kasi it could have gotten more human. And yet there was an entire subsection na parang, asan yung kwento? Wala.
Tsaka the characters deserved better stories.
Yes, better.
And dito talaga nabigyan ng justice. Bawat character, lahat sila well-developed.
Yes.
I mean, hindi ko nga siya ina-expect kasi these are 4 characters. Diba? Na with 4 very different backgrounds and stories and struggles. And lahat sila may pinuntahan. Lahat develop yung story nila. Oo.
And my God, one of my favorite endings this year of
Is it
any film.
Open ending?
It's for you to find out.
Or closed.
I'm pretty sure na this is gonna get mainstream run. I'm pretty sure.
Oo.
Talaga.
Sobrang lakas ng commercial appeal nito.
Galing. Solid A. Para sa akin. 9 out of 10.
Ako is a B+ for me.
One of my favorite films this year. One of the few bright spots in this year's Sinimalay. Ay nako. Sige na, move on na tayo. Then let's go into the brightest spot. One of the brightest spots pala, if I may correct myself, for this year's festival. And that is Padamlagan, written and directed by Jen Romano. Logline: 5 days before the proclamation of martial law, the Colgante Bridge collapsed in Naga, forcing a father into a desperate search for his missing son. So, masabi lang natin, of course, this is, ayaw naman sabihin acting debut. Sana nga, i-research ko na ng konti si Ellie Buendia, lumabas na siya sa isang sine noon. Kasama niya Eraserheads.
So parang parang Beatles na film.
Actually, hindi nga.
Hindi ba sila yung bida doon?
Parang hindi. Check ko Ayun. Yung Run Barbie Run.
Run Barbie Run.
Run Barbie Run. Ang bida ay si Joey De Leon. At si Maricel Laksa as Toyang.
So this is like a movie about their songs.
Yeah. Alam naman yung mga scene ng 90s na ganyan.
Or parang yung Burugudoy. Parang ganon.
Parang
Pero movie, hindi play.
Ano siya? Alam mo yung parang mga MMFF na mga scene na ganon.
Okay.
Lowest.
Fan-base
baiting. Low-hanging fruit comedy.
Okay. Yun lang? Yung nasa filmography niya?
Yun na nga. Itong nasa Eraserheads na filmography. Hindi ko lang alam kung may iba pa bang scene si Ellie. Double check ko
mukhang na-enjoy niya yung pag-film ng documentary ng Eraserheads. Bigla siyang nag-artista.
True. So after Run Barbie Run, may mga may mga parang mga natato.
As himself palagi.
Either as himself or may mga short films, mga art
cameo.
films, cameo. Andun pala siya sa kalimutan ko to. Andun siya sa Asyong, sa Longga. Siya yung nasa banda dun sa parang jazz club.
Pero cameo lang
Pero cameo lang yun, oo. Tapos ito, yan, may mga scene siyang iba. Ayoko, baka mahulog ako sa rabbit hole na yun. Huwag natin pag-usapan. Pero as far as accessible narrative films are concerned.
Okay.
Okay? Para sa akin, ito isa sa mga una niya. Ellie plays a father of a child, of a teenager na nawala during the Colgante Bridge tragedy in 1972. 1972 in Naga.
Hindi ko alam na Bicolano pala siya.
Ako din
ngayon ko lang nalaman.
Pero ang galing niya Sige, let's start with the obvious. I thought Ellie was fantastic.
I thought Ellie was perfect for the role. Kasi alam mo yung mga characters na sobrang emotionally stunted, yung tipong hindi marunong mag-express ng emosyon nila. He portrayed that perfectly.
Oo kasi yun na nga, tama ka dun sa emotionally stunted na nag-compound pa doon sa problema, so to speak, na he was suddenly faced with a very emotional problem. Son is missing. How does an emotionally stunted person handle that? So parang tama ka dun sa perfect siya.
Perfect siya for the role kasi, pero hindi nakikita mo pa rin yung emotional deterioration niya Not with his face. Hindi siya umiiyak or humahagulgol sa camera katulad ni JC Santos. No. Kasi, I mean, that is not who the character is. 'Di ba? Hindi naman siya yung hahagulgol tapos mag-ugly cry. So, siya yung tipong introverted probinsyano, middle-aged man na sobrang hindi alam mo yung mga tipong nung panahon na yon, yung mga tao hindi pinag-uusapan yung mga feelings. They're not into their feelings like Gen Zs are right now. 'Di ba? Parang they just live
firing shots today.
They're just living their life one day at a time, trying to survive. Ganun lang kasimple yung buhay nila.
Yeah.
And pero nakikita mo na habang tumatagal, na habang hindi niya nakikita yung anak niya, no hinahanap niya, nakikita mo sa posture niya, pabagsak ng pabagsak, yung itsura niya, nagiging disheveled. Alam mo yon, you can convey emotional struggle nang hindi laging nag-ugly cry. And ito, ang ganda ng pagkaka-portray nun, nung emotional struggle na yun and yung despair na pinagdadaanan niya.
Yes. Ako ang talagang, yun nga, Ellie was great in the role. One could say, and I guess, you could also say na the criticism is warranted when masasabi na kulang yung parang mata-acting niya. Pero kung titingnan mo siya dun sa lente nung kung ano yung kakasabi mo lang, may mga ganun talagang mga tao na parang they can't, in some cases, demonstrate the devastation that they feel.
not everybody shouts at the sky kapag ka nahihirapan na sila sa buhay.
True. Yun. Kaya, he was a revelation for me. This is the first time I've seen him act. And what a start. For me.
Napaka-demanding nitong character na to emotionally and acting-wise.
Yes.
Sobrang, kumbaga, high difficulty ka agad.
Props also have to be given to Sue Prado. As his sister.
Siya yung perfect foil for this character na sobrang emotionally introverted. Is that the term?
Oo. And kung dun sa Warla na waste siya, dito gamit siya to the max na talagang yes. One of my favorite actors.
Mas nakakainis siya dito.
Yeah, si Floyd Tena.
The guy you love to hate.
That's the mark of a great actor.
Yes.
Talaga, super.
Definitely. But I loved him in this musical that we watched.
Yung Back to Normal?
Hindi.
Next to Normal. Yan.
Bukod pa doon. Yung
Ano ba? Basta.
Delia D.
Delia D. Ayun. Galing niya din
I loved him in Delia D.
Floyd, you are fantastic. You're awesome. Nakakainis yung Warla na andun ka lang sa isang scene doon.
At hindi, dapat alam, may kulang na scene si Floyd doon. I would bet.
Feeling ko may mga cut kang scene doon Sir Floyd. Pero anyway, sige, balik tayo sa Patamlagan. Yun, the acting, tama ka, si Sue at si Floyd were perfect foils for how much of a blank slate yung character ni Ellie was emotionally. Kasi nga yun nga yung tinatry i-demonstrate ng scene na hindi niya kaya i-convey yung devastation niya kasi ang daming mga truths na ngayon pa lang nagka-come to light for him. Both for himself and about his son. So, hindi niya ma-reconcile yung fact na parang maybe my son is not here. Yung ganong possible reality.
It's the uncertainty na yung tipong, does he hold on to hope? Does he give up? Parang hindi niya makuha yung answers na hinahanap niya but he keeps getting up every day. Kumbaga kahit na unti-unti nang lumalamlam yung glimmer of hope na makita niya yung anak niya.
True.
And alam mo, there are stretches here na kahit na hindi siya umiiyak on screen, I feel his pain. I feel his emotion na sobrang intense. Minsan, less is more.
True. Alam mo yung naiisip ko minsan doon habang yung acting niya na parang dahil sa sobrang yung emotionally distant, emotionally stunted, parang hindi ko lang naisip ko while watching this na parang his character reminds me of one of my grandfathers, many grandfathers. Yung mga grand-uncle, ganun. Or parang, yung at his age during that time.
Boomer age yata to
So, kasi parang 1972. Let's say, mga late 40s na siya.
Or 30s.
Or early 50s.
I mean, people look older back then. No?
Pero yung tipong parang, parang makita ko na, parang ganyan pala tignan yung lolo ko nun. Yung ganyan siya no 1972.
Tsaka ganun doon, di ba? Men don't cry.
Yun.
Ganun ang boomer energy.
True. Masabi ko lang about the script. This is a fantastic script by Jen Romano. Kasi, first off, na-appreciate ko na it didn't resort to showing the Colgante Bridge tragedy. Na yes, there are times na we see the aftermath of yung bridge, ganon. Pero we never see the tragedy itself happen. We always see it from the perspective of the people looking at the tragedy.
We're painting a picture of the mga nagre-recount.
No
event.
Yun, ang ginagawa niya doon, may mga parang, interspersed with interviews.
Ay, ang gusto ko yung detail na yun.
Alam mo kung nare-remind ako noon sa kanya, hindi ko alam kung napanood mo na to, yung parang siyang Band of Brothers. Yung HBO series nila Tom Hanks at ni Steven Spielberg about World War II. Tuwing magsisimula kasi yung every episode nun. By the way, Band of Brothers is one of the best TV shows ever. Every episode starts with a short parang interview with the soldiers of Easy Company, yung squad in question doon sa show. Tapos, ini-interview yung mga matatanda. Dito, hindi pinapakita by face yung mga ini-interview, pero pinapakita sila with the pictures of Naga City of the time. So parang almost like that. I guess, I hope that was I hope I'm reading the intention right. Na parang ganun yung pagkakagawa niya. Pero I appreciate na the world building of this story came from some modicum of truth. Na hindi siya yung parang world building na para lang sa padamlagan.
Very grounded in reality siya. Dahil dun sa ginawang sandwiched between personal recollections of the event.
Yes.
Either from the victims themselves or from the relatives of the victims. So, na-appreciate ko yung level of research that went into this film.
Yeah.
Kayong pictures pa lang. I mean, yung nakikita natin sa picture, yun yung nakikita natin sa mga scenes.
True.
How they dressed, how the world looks, the hairstyles.
Yeah. Production design ni Jeric de Los Angeles. Mwah!
Grabe. Alam mo,
fantastici. Woo!
Isa yan sa mga, lagi kong nitpick sa mga period films eh. Kapag halimbawa, merong character, tapos sobrang out of time yung haircut.
Yes.
May side bangs. Na parang sabi ko, wala bang side bangs nung panahon na yun. Tapos, period piece, pero ang daming i-piercing. Ang daming, mga yung minimalistic tattoo na, hello, that's so,
walang,
2020s.
90s, 2010s, 20 mga ganun.
Diba? Parang, it takes me out eh. And this time, very particular ako sa ganun na yung hairstyle kapag sobrang planchado, nung mga panahon na yung wala namang reband.
Tama.
Yun, sobrang na-appreciate ko yung detail that went into the look and feel of this world. I really feel so immersed.
True.
Sobrang top-notch.
And the immersion wouldn't be complete without some of the best moving pictures we've seen this year from one Steven Evangelio, cinematographer. So, extraordinaire.
I mean, I expected nothing less.
Nakausap natin siya actually a short while back after nung screening ng Post House sa Cinema 76. And nung nag-uusap tayo doon, talagang sinabi niya na excited siya about his work for Padamlagan. Ang sabi pa kanina doon sabi, may Cinemalaya po kayo. Sabi, oo, meron. Quiet lang ano yun? Ano yun doon?
Yung kay Ellie
yung kay
daw.
Ellie. Pakaisip mo lang, wow, may Cinemalaya film si Ellie. Kaya din, siguro, before we watch this film, hindi ko naman sabihin na parang, meron na ako, Ellie. Pero more na parang, star vehicle?
Ako naman parang, okay, I know that Steven will make him look good in this movie. Pero, syempre hindi ako nag-expect kasi nga, wala naman akong alam sa filmography ni Ellie.
True.
And hindi ko nga ini-expect na magiging regional to eh.
Pero grabe. I mean, nag-uusapan natin recently to with Smash. Love Smash That Screen.
Shout out!
Hi Smash. Bumalik ka na dito.
Andrew bitch.
Na nag-uusap tayo parang ano yung mga scenes or shots of the festival para sa atin. And there's this one particular scene / shot for me that was absolutely spine-chilling.
Grabe yun.
And harrowing na para akong talagang, God, ang galing na itong gumawa nitong shot na tatangina. Nakinikilabutan ako na maiyak-iyak ako na parang, pero gusto kong pumalakpak, pero parang ang daming naghahalong, God, ang ganda nun.
Ang ganda nun.
Direction din ni Jen Romano during that scene. The actors, the extras involved in that scene, my God, it was so fantastic. I was, God. Naalala ko lang siyang kilabutan ako agad. God. Sige, at the risk of gushing too hard. I mean, pinag-uusapan natin to a few days after natin siya mapanood. So, I guess, wala na tayo sa gushing hard part nun. Na sinabi ko sa'yo, na parang Steven's work reminds me of Roger Deakins.
Whoa! High praise yun.
Alam mo yung,
my God.
He can make art look like high art. And he can also make chicken crap into the best chicken noodle soup ever.
Nagugutom ka ba?
Kailan natin.
Pero yes, I completely agree with you. Kasi sobrang grabe yung di ba nga, walang pinapakitang emotional, parang yung given ng mga cues like pag-iyak and paghagulgol or pagsigaw, walang ganon. Pero it's the framing that actually conveys the emotion. And there are moments na kahit walang dialogue and walang nangyayari, nakaupo lang si Ellie, parang naiiyak ako.
Yan.
Kasi the way it was shot, parang gives you that kind of parang harrowing feeling of devastation and despair na unti-unting nagdodon on him. I don't know how to explain it. Pero yung paggalaw ng camera, basta.
It's a very visceral feeling seeing how Steven composes his shots that just evokes very, very strong emotions talaga.
Oo.
Ito yung masasabi ko para dun sa mga, sige, let's address the elephant in the room in terms of that. Na feeling ko, may mga nag-aano na sa atin na, hindi naman kayo mahilig sa art film Kasi yung mga Magellan, di niya gusto. Ganyan. Mga ganong klaseng sine. Raging, di niya gusto. There is a certain element in an art film that can still be accessible and still remain esoteric. It can both have provocative emotions. It can parang make you feel intense emotions, katulad ng sinasabi mo kanina, without resorting to parang being aloof. Yun yung masasabi ko dito sa Panamlagan. Even though we were following a very emotionally distant, emotionally unavailable protagonist, this film never felt aloof.
Oo. Or
in fact,
it never felt na parang you have to dig parang 6 feet under para lang makuha mo kung ano yung gusto niyang sabihin.
Yun. In fact, tama ka sa sabi mo kanina, every shot in this, kahit yung wide shot, nakita mong naglalakad si Ellie at nagtatanong-tanong siya ng tao, asking where his son is. Alam mo yung, kahit yun, I'm just remembering it now. I feel emotional remembering that scene kasi parang how Steven constructs that shot, how Jen directs the people walking in the shot, and how she directs Ellie, acting with this level of despair na hindi performative, hindi demonstrative. It's so, everything comes together so well. Na parang you see this tiny speck of our protagonist walking down the street, talking to people. Hindi ka mag-feel so strongly for that person na parang, oh my God, I hope he gets to find his son. Yun
Yun din yung simplicity din ng kwento without, parang shoving down your throat an agenda or a message. Feels so refreshing in this film festival na parang ang daming gustong mag-lecture sa'yo ng kung anong dapat mong isipin at paniwalaan.
Ay, nako.
This one just lets you experience a story of a man trying to find his son. Yun lang. And you are part of his journey. You feel his devastation and his parang hope niya na unti-unti nang nawawala. So, yeah. And a sign of a good movie talaga is yung naaalala mo exactly in your mind kapag pumikit ka yung mga scenes. And I remember so many from this movie.
I remember almost the entire movie. Ako,
gusto ko siyang panoorin ulit.
Bumabalik, nag-wash over yung parang how Ellie's character felt. Just remembering everything again. Talagang, this is a near perfect film for me. Solid A.
Same.
Grabe. I mean, let's just wrap this up real quick. Pero,
naiiyak ka na ba?
naalala ko yung talagang sobrang ganda nitong Padamla. And siguro hindi naman sa naiiyak, more nagiging emotional din ako kasi you've touched a nerve with what you said just now Na parang, sige, masabi ko na, ito na, I'll just give my final thoughts about this film and then I'll let this edition of the Cinemalaya Film Festival rest in peace.
Grabe naman.
Until next year.
Okay.
I did not like this year a lot. Primarily because you're right na there were so many films that tried to lecture me on what to feel, on what to think, on how to view the world. Let's say the P word. Some films so close to being just flat out propaganda. What I want in a true independent film festival is for a film to make me challenge my beliefs. Of all the films that we watched, Open Endings challenged my beliefs the most about how I perceived the LGBT experience. Kasi dati, ako aminin ko, sabihin ko na, pagtibo, ganyan yan. Pag iba-iba yung concept nila ng jowa-jowaan. And yet, this film just welcomes me with open arms and tells me na, no, our experience is as universal as yours. It didn't tell me na parang, hindi, ganito ang mga tibo, ganito ang mga lesbian. Hindi, no. It didn't hammer me on the head of their experience.
Yes, yeah.
Yung mga iba na parang either it's gonna just tell you, it's not, some are not even gonna tell you what it's about. Some are even just going to parang, hindi, ito yun, no? Sobrang blunt instrument niya. Pero Yun na nga eh. Yung tatlong sine dito, well, I mean, in my opinion, 4 films that I liked was yung Hydra because of how it challenged parang the notion of parang
duality, yung dichotomy.
Yes, of our current political situation.
Yeah.
Etong Padamlagan na parang talagang through its sheer beauty, it just placed you in the headspace of Ellie's character.
And nilagay niya sa may backdrop ng martial law. Pero hindi niya masyadong pinilit or pinush masyado yun. Alam mo yun?
Hindi tayo pinukpok sa ulo ng parang, lapit yung martial law.
And although merong implication.
May undertones.
Kasi si Smash also enlightened us on this na parang there is that possibility na the son parang sumama siya dun sa martial law cause or isa siya sa mga parang nadakip. Desaparecido na pwedeng ginamit yung tragedy to take him.
Yes.
Parang ganon. There is that slight possibility although hindi siya sobrang explicitly said.
True.
Pero yun nga hindi siya parang trying to make a stand just for the sake of making a stand.
True.
Naalala ko tuloy yung sa Cine Martyrs, bigla na lang niyang ipinasok dun yung VFA. Parang, what? Kailangan may stand ako, kaya sige yan na lang. Parang ganun. Yung I feel parang,
parang
saan galing yun?
Siya, haphazard slapdash na parang, dahil kasi yung mga pumatay dun sa Budaho Massacre, Amerikano, sama natin yung VFA. Huh?
Yun na nga So parang itong Padamlagan is such a breath of fresh air.
Oo.
Na, for once, walang nagle-lecture sa akin.
Kaya, I'm sorry, I didn't like this year's mix. I hope next year is better. Pero, to be honest, I'm not holding out hope. Kaya, I still liked it. There are films that, I liked. I like Child number 82. Just for the sheer entertainment value of it. And its love for film on its sleeve. Kaya, ikaw ba? How was this year for you?
A lot of it was exhausting for me. Yun nga, nasabi ko na kanina na may iba na just triggering you emotionally just to elicit a reaction, diba? Yung iba naman, sobrang lecturing, very, preachy, ganon. Pero may mga pa rin naman, may creme de la creme pa rin naman ako kahit paano. Pero mas konti kumpara sa mga nakaraang taon.
Oo.
Kaya, ayun, maraming mid this year.
Yun din siguro yung kung bakit nakakapagod siya.
Oo.
Parang mag-effort ka para manood ng mga sine na parang, ito lang yun.
Oo. Tsaka, yun nga, minsan ayoko kasi nang pinipreach ako Ayoko nung dinidiktahan ako kung ano-ano. And, yun nga, nauuso yun. So,
it's parang nawawala yung nababastardize yung spirito ng cinema and film. Na parang, it appears more and more that, more people are getting into filmmaking not because they appreciate the art of filmmaking, but rather they seek to exploit the method of filmmaking to soapbox. And that's a very sad development in our local cinema industry. Yan lang. Hot take. Pew, 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 pew.
Yeah, pero of course, just as always, lagi pa rin naman tayong magsisinimalaya. Like, taon-taon naman nating panatayan. Kumpletuhin yung Cinemalaya parang simbang gabi.
Saint Tony Boy, pray for us.
Ha?
Saint Luis Gillian, pray for us.
Saint Carlitos.
Saint Carlitos Sigun Reyna, pray for us. Ay, nako. So that wraps up this year's Cinemalaya.
Pew, 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 pew.
I'm so tired.
Pero at least, meron pa rin naman tayong, meron mga worth it naman.
Yes. Ay, nako. Anyway, so that's it. If you've seen any or all of the feature-length Cinemalaya films, tell us what you thought about it. If you agree with us,
if you don't,
if you don't, go ahead.
Yeah, we'd love to start a discussion. We don't shy away from that. Especially, mas gusto namin kausap actually yung mga nagdi-disagree sa mga pananaw namin kasi at least nagkakaroon tayo ng diskurso.
Tama.
And we can see it differently.
Tama.
And vice versa,
That
diba?
is correct. Yeah. Comment it on our social media or on our Spotify episode page. As always, hindi tayo bibigyan ng editorial approval sa mga gumagawa nito. And
And also, please subscribe to our Spotify, follow us, and we're also on Apple Podcasts and any podcast platform that you listen to.
Apparently, Audible no?
Audible. We are on Audible, diba? Bongga.
Kindle kayo, Audible. Go. Including Audible. So, apparently, nasa mga Kindle na din tayo. Wow.
Wow. Hindi, Kindle is the,
Hindi, pero may player siya ng
Meron ba?
I mean, sa mga may-ari ng Kindle dyan, pakisabihan kami kung meron podcast player yun.
Okay.
Anyway.
So, that's it for our episode. This has been Angela. And for my co-host, Troy, thank you for listening to the Cine Geeks podcast, where movies, TV, and all things geek collide.
Cinemalaya.